Alright, so we're going to continue with spreadsheet, even though this term we're actually supposed to be starting database, but it doesn't make sense. We jump to database and we have no idea about half of spreadsheet. So but we're going to try to pick up the pace a bit. So please remember, the classes are for you, even though I might be going a bit faster. If you're not following, if you're not clear on anything, it's okay for you to stop me and ask me what I just said, or to clarify anything that you might find confusing. So if you have any questions, you can ask me at any time. So the last class we had, we actually started this chapter here, and we stopped somewhere around the rank function, the sum function. We were supposed to start VLOOKUP. But what I'm going to do, I am going to just quickly go through each one of the function, just to give us a recap of everything that we would have covered. And if you guys at any point in time have a question, you're not following, you let me know. So one of the first function we would have learned is the average function. And remember, the syntax is just one part to it. So average, the average function. So you have a range of values, 4, 5, 6, 8, 2, and you simply type the equal sign, equal to average, and then you highlight that range. That's simple. You complete the entry and we have our answer there. So that's the average sorry, confusing it with another class. That's the average function there. If any questions on that, please let me know. If not, we're going to go on to the next one. So remember, we covered that already. We also looked at the count A and the count function. So if you guys can remember, anybody remember the difference between the two? Count A.
One is for numbers, and one is for like all that, so like letters and stuff.
Very good, very good. One is for letters. One is for all data. I'm wondering now if A stands for all instead of A, B, and I always thought A stands for A as in the letter of the alphabet. There's a possibility it stands for all. I gotta do some research as to what the E stands for. So count A is going to basically be counting all data. So notice it's counting everything here. We have 5 as our answer. So 5 cells here basically. Remember, it's not counting what is inside. It's counting if the cell has data inside of it. So notice I'm gonna I'm gonna type the word boy. So notice count A has 5 because it's counting all types of data, and count has 4 because there's only 4 numbers. So that's the difference there. Any question from anyone, you can let me know. The count if function, so equal count if. This one has 2 parts. It has a range, so you have to highlight a range once again, and you have a criteria. Also, if you don't have your computer with you, please try to get it in the meanwhile and ensure it's working, because when we reach the VLOOKUP, I need you to practice that one. So this one here has 2 parts, a range and then a criteria. Here you must put your criteria in quotation mark. So basically, it's anything greater than 100. I'm asking a question. Remember, a criteria is basically asking a question. Ask it in that manner. Is anything greater than 100? And notice we are going to get 1, because there's only one number here greater than 100. So if we change another small number into a large number, notice we get 2 here. So that is the count if, a range and a criteria after that. The criteria could be anything. Equal to 100. Notice 0, because nothing here is equal to 100 unless I type in 100. If I say less than 100, I'm going to get 1, because only 2 is less than 100. I can also do less than, equal to. So notice now I'm going to get 2, because I have 2 and I have 100 here. So any one of those questions you can ask. Less than, more than, equal to, whatever the case may be. Those are your questions. Any questions on that? We also looked at the date function. The date function has 3 parts to the syntax: day, month, and year. So date. So month, we're gonna put we're gonna use the same values right here. So month, day, year. So the year 2004, the day is 5, the month is 12. So you simply type in equal date, open bracket, you select the year cell, you select the month cell. Notice the hint at the bottom here is telling you which part of the syntax is what, and you select the date, the day, and we have a date here. Now please remember, by default spreadsheet puts the month first. So if you notice, it's 12/5/04, month first. So say for instance, if you ever type in 15/04/2004, notice it's left line, because it's not a date. It's not recognizing as a date. Remember, words are left line. It's actually not recognizing it as a number unless I change this 15 here to 2. Notice now it's right line, because we have 12 months. We do not have anything above 12 as a month. So even if I put 13, same thing here. So by default, the date has the month first. That's something to remember. So that there is a date function. We also learned about the today function, which basically gives us today's date. So that there is the syntax: equal today, open and close bracket. We learned about this here. It gives us today's date. So today is the 7th of the first month, 2023. So notice this is one of those functions which does not have an argument. So if you guys can remember, an argument is what you put in your brackets. So this is one of those functions that does not have the argument. All of you following so far? You remember all this so far?
Yes, sir.
Great. We also looked at the if function. The if function has 3 parts. It has a test. A test is also a question. So test, query, condition, decision, there's so many names, and they all basically refer to the same thing. They refer to more than, less than, equal to, more than, equal to, whatever the case may be. It's basically the same thing they're referring to. So a test, and we all know that the answer to a test is either true or false. So that's how the if function works. You ask a question, and if it is true, you do something. But if it is false, you do something else. So let's look at an example. So if we're gonna type equal if, open bracket, our first part of the syntax is the test. So we're gonna test. What are we going to test? We're gonna test if average, this average at the top here, if average is greater than 1000. So comma, that's my test. But notice this test, I don't need to put it in quotation mark like the COUNTIF. It's only the countif you need to put in quotation mark. This case here, if you put it in quotation mark, I don't think it's gonna work. But we can actually try it and see if it's gonna work. So let me put it in quotation mark and see if it's gonna work. Now, see what happened there automatically? Notice the B1 is no longer blue. So it's not recognizing it as a cell, so it won't work. So our tests, if B1 is greater than 1000, now we are in our true section. What do I want to happen if the answer is true? Well, I want the phrase greater than 1000 to appear. But if it is false, I want the phrase less than 1000 to appear. So remember, whatever you put in this true section, that's going to be carried out. Whatever you put in the false, that is what will be carried out. So close there. I notice I have an answer of less than 1000 because this here is in fact less than. Now if I change up the values, notice I now have my average greater than 1000. So now, because it's true, I now have greater than 1000 here. Now remember, whatever you put in the quotation mark, that will appear. Exactly in the quotation mark, that was what will appear. I can also put a formula. So I can say this value multiplied by that value. You can do practically anything that you want. I can say this value divided by that value there. Anything that you want can be carried out. So because it is greater than 1000, it multiplied. Now if I drop the value, notice it now divided. I now have an answer of 10. But notice, if I put my formula in double quotation mark, what is going to happen? Notice exactly what is in my double quotation mark will appear. Even if I change it greater than 1000, notice the other part of the function appear. This is the true value, G2 times G3. If I drop it back again, notice it's G2 divided by G3. So it's showing me exactly what is in the quotation mark. So once again, the if function has a test, has a question. If the question is true, whatever you put in this true part will be carried out. Whatever you put in the false part will be carried out. So if you want something to appear in the cell, you put it in double quotation mark. But if you want a formula, you simply type in the equation, G2 times G3, whatever the formula might be. You guys clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Now, I think I already showed you this here. Did I show you guys how to nest the if function?
Yes, sir.
Right. So, but just as a reminder, and once again, whatever you put in a certain section, that's going to be carried out. So in this false here, if I delete that formula, that calculation there, and I start typing another if, and I open bracket, I am basically running another test now. I'm starting another if function. So now, look what's happening here. I'm testing to see, let me change the, let me change this here to less than. If it's less than 1000, then print less than 1000. Now if B1 is less than 2000, so look at the hint at the bottom. Remember this Look, I'm now selecting the if, and it's showing me I am a part of the first if function. So I'm part of this first if function here. So you gotta look at the commas also. This is the test, this here is the true, and this here is the false. This if here is inside of the false of this first if. But because I created another function, it's gonna work the same way. So when you go into the if function, I now have another test. So I have another test here if it's less than a 2000. So in this true here, I can say something else, less than 2000. Now at the end here is the false once again, and I'm going to end the if. I can actually continue again. I could go over and over and over. I can now test again if I want. If B1 is less than 3000, I could keep doing that over and over. So like if it's like if I'm testing the ranges, if it's between 0 to 1000, 1000 to 2000, 2000 to 3000. But if I want to stop it, I'm not going to put another if. I am going to put something else in that false area. I can say greater than 2000. So this here is called nested if function. So let me copy that, put that in this one. Yeah, because I was wondering why it wasn't working.
Yeah, I was about to tell you that you missed a parenthesis.
Oh, nested if. Good. So this is your nested if. You're putting one if inside of another. So with this here now, remember I'm testing this average at the top here. Let me highlight it. So this 89.3. So let me increase it to over 1000. So notice it now says less than 2000. And if I raise it once again, greater than 2000. So this is how we test our ranges, by using a nested if function. You guys think you're clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everyone clear? Is there anyone not clear on how to nest the if function? Now is the time to tell me if you want me to go it over again, because you got to do this for your final assignment for spreadsheet.
Sorry, you can go back again.
Alright. So we're starting here with if. I'm going to go from the very beginning here. We're starting here with if. Remember, the if has three parts. It has a test, it has a true, and it has a false. So look at the commas. The commas indicate the separation. So you can compare it to this one here. This one that has only one if inside of it. So from this B1 greater than 1000, that's your test, that's your question, comma, indicating that's the end of the test, G2 times G3. So that's true. Remember, whatever you put in the true, that is what will be carried out. So if I put a formula here, if I put an equation, that is what is going to be carried out. If I put open and close bracket hello, that is what will be carried out. Whatever you do there, that is what is going to be carried out. So right here, I could start another if function. I can even type if open bracket, and I can start typing another if, and it works with the same structure. Notice at the bottom here, test, value if true, value if false. You just got to remember how the original one works. What is the syntax for the original? That it's a test, it's a value if true, value if false. Whatever is in this true is going to be carried out, whatever is in this false is going to be carried out. So even if you put one within the other, it's still going to work the same way. So G2, let me put back this here. So let's look back at this one here now. So here we have B1 less than 1,000, that's our test. Here in this true part, we have less than 1,000, that's what I want to appear if the test is true, if the question is true. Now if it is false, notice if is in false, I want to start another if, and it's the same structure once again. I have another question, because that's how the if function works. Right after you type equal if, you have to put a test, you have to put a question. B1, is B1 less than 2,000? So look at the hint here at the bottom once again, comma here, indicating that's the end of the question. Now in this true part, what do I want to happen? I want the words less than 2,000 to appear. Now remember, it ends with a false. So at this end here, I could have continued with another if. I could have typed if, open bracket, run another test, and I could go that over and over and over and over. But in this case, I ended with the phrase greater than 2,000. That is what will appear. So you just got to remember the structure, the syntax. A test, then if it's true or if it is false. And that's how it works continuously, even if you put it inside of something else. Did that help?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Alright, give me 1 minute. You guys can look at the formula and have a look at it. 1 minute. Oh, never mind. Alright, so let's continue. Yeah, so that's the if function, that's the nested if function. Now let me just show you. So like even here, it doesn't necessarily only have to be if. You don't need to do this actually, but I'm just showing you an example. Even here, you could run sum, so equal sum, and you can select all of that, and if it's B2 is less than, so here I can type in 2,000, and notice it ran the sum function. So it's not a case whereby you can only put the if inside of another if. You can actually merge functions together. You can combine them together and perform different calculations that you want. It all depends on what you want. That if it is less than, I want this word to appear, but if it's not, I want you to calculate this. It all depends on you. So it's not only a case whereby you can only put an if within an if. You can actually merge or combine different functions together. But this is not something you guys have to worry too much about. It's just the if within an if. That's the one you'll be using in your assignment. Alright, so if no questions on that, we are going to move on to max. Now max should be a relatively simple function. Max gives us our maximum value. So it's a simple equal max, and you highlight your range, and we get our maximum value. Min is for our minimum value, so equal min, open bracket, and we select our range once again, and we get our minimum value. Those are the simple ones. Max, min. Now PMT. PMT is our loan interest. So this is for us to calculate loan, how much we have to repay. So let me add another 0. So that's going to be a 5 million loan. interest rate, so 8%, and years, so a 6-year period. So remember, this is practical. Whenever you take a loan, these are the 3 main information you would get: how much loan you're taking, what is the interest rate you have to pay back, and how long do you have to repay this loan. So PMT function equal PMT, open bracket. So this one here has a lot more at the bottom, but we're going to look at the chapter to get the idea of the syntax. So it's interest rate first, then the number of payment, and then the loan amount. So equal PMT, interest rate first, so that's G2, comma, years, that's G9, comma, and then loan amount. Enter. So now this here is our yearly payment. Now note that this percentage here is a yearly 8%, and obviously 6 years is already years. So everything here, well, except for the loan, everything here was given in years. So by carrying out this calculation here, I have a yearly repayment. Now if I want monthly repayment, I need to convert my yearly values into months. So interest rate divided by 12, because if you take something yearly, you have to divide it by the months. Year, we have to multiply by 12, because to convert a year into months, you have to multiply. And you keep the loan because the loan doesn't change whether it's monthly or yearly. Then we close off there, and this is our monthly repayment, or monthly payment there. So that's the difference between the two. So this here is yearly when you do no conversion, but that's if, remember, that's if the information that was given was already in years. You don't have to do any conversion, you'll get yearly. So if it was given in months, then it would be monthly repayment if you'd carry out this formula here. But the fact that it's in years, we have to convert, and then we're going to get monthly repayment. You guys clear so far? Remembering all that so far?
Sir, can you please go over the monthly one?
Alright. Let me switch back. Good. So the monthly, so you understand the yearly one, right? What's happening here?
Yes, sir.
That the yearly is basically the general function. You plug in the information. Where's the syntax? You plug in the interest rate first, then the number of payments, then the year, and because the information is year, you get yearly repayment. Now because it's in year, we want the monthly repayment, we have to do conversion. So if so the first part of the syntax is the interest rate. Now if a value such as, say for instance, somebody's get paid, you know how we just say somebody's get an annual salary, and we say that annual salary is what, maybe how much is this here? The person is get an annual salary of 1 million. Say their annual salary is 1 million. That means they get 1 million per year. So you know that if you want to calculate how much that person gets monthly, you gotta take that annual salary and you divide it by 12. You divide it by the 12 months, and you'll get, what has happened? Oh, it's 12. Thought it was 10. Yeah, and you get this here. So this is their monthly salary here now. So that's what we're doing with the first part of the syntax. We're taking this percentage because the percentage is a yearly percentage, an annual yearly percentage, every year you have to pay 8%, then by dividing it by 12, you're going to get a monthly interest rate. So equal 8 divided by 12, so that's going to be 0.67% each month you have to pay. Now for the year, well, we know that a year you just simply have to multiply it by the 12 months, and that would convert it into months. And that's basically the monthly conversion there. Did that answer your question?
Yes, sir. Thanks.
Great. Anybody else with any question? Alright, let's move on. If no question. Alright, so the last two function that we looked at was the rank function. So rank, or the newer version, is rank.eq function. So the rank function is used to rank some values. So I'll have to put that in another area so that we can see it better. So let me put it here. So good. So I'm going to give you some grades: 50, 60, 30, 40, 60. Now equal rank dot eq, open bracket. So notice we have three parts to our syntax. Number whose rank you want to find. So basically the first part is a number that you want to rank. The second part is the range that you are comparing it to. So it's like the group of persons that you want to compare that person to, and then the order, chronological order of descending or ascending. So the first syntax is the number. So a single number, so that's going to be this single cell here, cell G14. We want to rank that single cell. Now the second part of the syntax is the range. What are we comparing it to? We are comparing it to this range here, because this is all the grades that we got, comma, and then notice ascending or descending. I want it ascending. Now if you guys can remember that in this case here, if we were to copy here, it is going to change our values. We won't get the right calculation. Notice the range keeps moving. So in this case here, what you need to do is to use some dollar signs. So, but let me show you the other method, because I think I already showed you the dollar sign. The other method to use absolute addressing is to highlight your range. Like for instance, I'm highlighting these group of grades. I'm highlighting them, and I'm going to my name box, and I'm going to type in the name grade. So what I just did there, I named that range. So I named this range a grade. So now what I can do, instead of typing in G14 to G18, I can type in the range name of grade. So now when I autofill, notice grade gets copied, because this is called absolute addressing. This is one method of absolute addressing. When you name a range or when you name a cell and you autofill or you copy, the name does not change. That's important to remember. That's called absolute addressing. So notice here we have our ranking here. Now notice, even though I selected ascending, it is not in ascending order because I did not sort my data. So what I simply have to do, right click on any one of the cell in that column that I want to sort. I want to sort this data here, but I don't highlight it. I have to right click on any one of the cell inside of that column. Then I go to sort and I select which order I want. I want largest to smallest, so that the largest is going to be in the top and that person is going to be placed first. So largest, seems I selected the wrong order, but notice 60 is at the top and 50, 40 and 30, so I'm just going to simply change 1 to 0, so I get descending and I bring that down. So notice I get my ranking here. So Amlina and Nathan got first place, Africa got third, Gayatri got fourth, Amisha got fifth place. So this here is the rank EQ function. It ranks a single value. This is called absolute addressing, where you can name a range. The other method is the $sign, and this is our order here. You guys clear on that?
Yes, sir.
Anyone with any questions? Alright, so the last function we looked at was a sum function. Very simple function, just like min and max. Equal sum, open bracket, and you simply highlight your range, whatever range you want, enter, and you get a calculation there. You get your sum calculation. That there is the sum function. Now remember, when you're using the sum function and even other functions, you can type in an actual value. Like for instance, nothing's wrong with typing in a real value like 149, 100, 1000. You can type in values into it. Like for instance, in this rank here, I could have typed in 50 here and it's gonna work. I just typed in 50 and it worked. Notice that 50 got a rank of 3. It's not looking at this grade here, it's looking at this 50 here. But we avoid typing in values into our formula. We avoid doing that. Why? Because every time I have to go and recalculate, or I have to make a change, I have to go into the function. I have to edit that formula, and that is poor design. So what you do, instead of typing in the value in the function, in the formula, you type in a cell name, so that in that cell instead you can change the grade and it's going to automatically recalculate itself. What is that? Oh. Yeah, so you can, nothing's wrong with typing in values, it's going to work, but it's more effective to type in cell names, so cell references. Or you can use a combination, you can use a cell range or a combination of all three. Cell reference, a range, a cell, actual value, all of those can work. So just remember that when you're creating functions and formula. Alright, so if no questions on any one of those functions and anything we covered there, we are going to move on to our most complicated function, our VLOOKUP function. Alright, so this is our new topic. This is our new function, our VLOOKUP function. Now, VLOOKUP, let me give you an idea as to what VLOOKUP does before we get into it. So, say for instance, you are running a business, and say for instance this is the item column. You're creating a spreadsheet for your business. You're selling biscuit, you're selling cheese stick, and this is the price. So $20 biscuit, $100 cheese stick. Now, so this is a small table, keeping track of the items you have and how much you're selling them for. Now, normally when you're keeping track of information, you try to like have one table for one purpose and you create another table for another purpose. So like say for instance, this is the selling table. So here now the items that you're selling cheese stick, and this is how much you're selling for. The price of the cheese stick is selling for $100. Biscuit, you're selling for $20. Now look what's gonna happen. So this is your stock. So this is your stock over there, and this is where you're selling over here. Good. Now these two tables should actually be the same thing, because this is your stock, this is your inventory, and this is where you're selling. So say for instance now, the price of biscuit went up, and you're no longer buying the biscuit for $20, you're buying the biscuit for $22 something. So you gotta go up, carry up the price. You're now selling biscuit for $40. So you change the price from your stock, you change it now to $40. But in the selling table, remember you gotta change that too. You gotta say you're selling the biscuit now for $40. So if you notice, the pattern was gonna happen here. Every time you change the price here, say cheese stick gone up now, I gotta change it in this one table, and then I gotta go to the other table and change it. Now imagine if you had hundreds of items, and imagine if you had more table that was using the same information. It's gonna take a lot of time. It might even not even be possible for you to find all of this information and make all these necessary changes, because they're in so many different places and you have so many different items and so on. But what if there was a way to link the two cells together? What if every time I type in 60 here, a 60 will appear over here? What if every time I change my cheese stick price to 100, it's gonna change the cheese stick price to 100 over here? What if there was a method like that? Don't you think that would be an easier method? What do you guys think? Isn't that an easier method?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that would be an easier method. And anywhere in the spreadsheet, if you change this one price, it's gonna change everywhere else. Well, that is the VLOOKUP function. That is what it does. That is its power. Now, so the VLOOKUP function is a function that links cells together, basically. Now, it's not the only function that can link cells together. It's one of the many that we have to learn about. Good. So that's the basic idea as to what VLOOKUP does. Now we're going to head into the syntax, the structure of the VLOOKUP function. What do we have to put into this function now to get it to work? Now it looks like a lot of information here, but it's actually only 4 parts. It's only 4 syntax. 4 parts to the syntax. So remember, I always look for that comma. So the first part, value you want to look up. So I'm just going to underline this lookup part here. This is the first part. The first part, we call it the lookup value. That's what we call it, the lookup value. So going back to this example here, it's like if we're looking for a value. So like if we're inside of this green table here, and we are looking for the biscuits value, we are looking for the cheese stick value. So you're looking for a particular value inside of this blue table here. So that's why we call it a lookup value. Now, the second part of the syntax, the range of data where the value is located in the first column. In the first column. So we have a lookup value, which is what we are looking for. Now, just like all your other function, you have to tell it where to look for it. So you have to tell it a range as to where to look for this data. So in this case here, with this example, our range is going to be this table here. This table here. So we're basically going to say, look inside of this table and you're going to find cheese stick. Look inside of this table and you're going to find biscuit. But note, this is why I underline it in red, so that you can differentiate between the syntax. For this second syntax, when you're looking in this range, it only looks at the first column. Remember that. We're going to come back to that later. Now the third syntax, the third part of the syntax. When you have found, you would have found that lookup value in the range, in the first column. What you need to do, you need to select a column number relative to the first column containing the additional information you need. So basically, remember this is the first column here. In this range, this is the first column, biscuit and cheese stick. Now when you have found that information, say for instance I'm looking for biscuit, what's going to happen, what the system does, what the VLOOKUP does, it looks in the column, it starts from the top going down, it found biscuit, I'm looking for biscuit. Now what it does, it stops at that row, and what it does, it looks across. Now this is where the name comes into play. With that there, can anybody guess what the V in VLOOKUP stands for?
Value.
Close.
Vertical?
Vertical. Very good. So V stands for vertical. So vertical, the V here is vertical lookup. VLOOKUP is vertical lookup. So basically, when you're coming down in this column here, you stop at that value that you would have found, and you're going to look vertical, you're going to look horizontal, you're going to look across in that row, and you're going to look for a value that you want. Now notice we're at the third syntax. The third syntax is to select a column number. Why are we selecting a column number? Because when you look across, you have to select in that range which column you want to link. So in the range, this is the first column, this is the second. So just imagine if the table was much longer. Say for instance we had discount there, 5%, 5%. Now this would be the third column, right? So there will be the third column there. So this here is the second column. So you have to indicate with a 2, second column, that I want the price, not the discount, not the name. I want the price, second column. Now that's the third syntax there. The fourth syntax, a very simple one. Whether the list in the first column of the range is sorted or not sorted. Very simple. You're basically indicating if the table was sorted or not sorted. So with those four syntax, the first one, a lookup value. The third, the range you are looking for. Sorry, the second, the range you're looking for. The third, the column number. And fourth, the if it's sorted or not. So let's create that function now. Let me add in discount there. So let me delete the price. So I don't need to type the price, because remember now I'm going to link that information. So here I need to create that here in this green table here. So equal VLOOKUP. Now look at the hint at the bottom here. Look at the first one. Notice it says lookup value. Now before that, what I should do is name my range. That's the first thing you're going to do. This should be a general rule that every time you're going to use a range, name your range. Whenever you're going to use a range, name your range so that you can remember it, so that you can know where it's located. So I'm going to highlight this range here. Notice I'm not highlighting stock. I'm just highlighting my table, because that's the table I want. The table with the headings and the information. So whenever you're creating a range, just highlight what you need. But if there is more information to the table, obviously then you'll highlight the rest of the table. But like this information of stock at the top here, that's not important. I just need the main table's information. So I'm highlighting this table here, and I'm going to name it stock. Remember, you always name something based on what it is represented. So I'm naming that stock. Enter. So I just named this range here stock. Now I'm going to go back to creating my VLOOKUP. Equal VLOOKUP, open brackets. Now once again, the lookup value. What am I looking for? Now I am looking for cheese stick, but I'm not going to select the cell in the blue table. I'm going to select the cell in the green table, because you would usually create your lookup value close to your VLOOKUP. You would create it like how I have it right now. The lookup value is like in the same row as your VLOOKUP function. So I'm selecting E8. I'm searching for cheese stick. You guys follow me so far?
Yes, sir.
Great. So that there's my lookup value, comma. Now my table array is my range. That's another name for range. So I gotta type in stock, because that's the range that I created. Notice when I type in stock, it turned red, and this here my range was highlighted in red, comma. Now it says column index number. That's my third, so I have to count. Now this is column 1, column 2, column 3. What do I want to bring over? Column 2. I just simply need to type in 2, comma. Now the last part of the syntax, true or false. True means it was sorted. False means it was not sorted. Or the system says false means an exact match, true means an approximate match. Now if you know the table is sorted, you can select true. But if the table is not sorted, obviously you're going to select false. Now what if you do not know if the table is sorted or not? In that case, select false. So we're going to select false here. So whether you know or not, we select false. Close bracket, and we select enter, and notice that 100 magically appears. And notice now, if I go to cheese stick here in the blue, and I change cheese sticks 100 to 200, notice in the green table it automatically changes to 200. If I change that 200 to 400, basically now whatever I type in this cell will appear. The two cells are now linked to each other. So I could do this throughout my spreadsheet, in different sheets, in the same sheet, anywhere. And anytime I change it in one area, it will change in the order. Now all I need to do is to autofill this here, and notice I now have the biscuits price because it's still using that same lookup value. It now, because of I copy it down, it used relative addressing, so now it changed to the biscuits lookup value, and I'm now looking for biscuits. So now if I change biscuits to 90, 90 appears over there. So let's have a look at it once again, the VLOOKUP function. Now, like I said with the sum function, you can type in a cell name or you can type in an actual value. So this E8 here, I could have typed in quotation mark cheese stick, and notice it worked. I have 500 here. I'm going to change that 500 to 200. Remember, this is my lookup value. What am I looking for? In this case here, I typed in that I am looking for the word cheese stick. Now remember, it's not effective to type in values into your function or formula depending on the situation. So in this case here, we want to type in the cell name, in this case E8. So if I do change cheese stick here, say for instance I change cheese stick and I delete cheese stick and type in biscuit, notice I can change my lookup value because I typed in a cell name. So the lookup value can either be a cell name or an actual value, but the more appropriate or the more effective method would be to type in a cell name. Are you guys following so far? Are you guys following? The rest of you following?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Alright. Now, great. So let's continue. So that's the first part there. You look up value. Now, remember it is looking for this value. So let's go back to this important point on the red. It is looking for the value in the range, but please remember it is looking in the first column. That's important to note. Now, when we say the first column, we're not talking about the first column of the spreadsheet. We're talking about the first column in the range. Now look at what's going to happen here. I'm going to insert a column before A. So now notice the table got shifted. But when I did that, did the range shift? Did it remain the same? Look. So notice I selected stock, and notice the same table is the same range. So relative to the range, relative to the table, this is the table's first column, this is the table's second column, and this is the table's third column. We're looking at the table, not the entire spreadsheet. So when we say we are looking at the first column, we are looking at the first column in that range here that you're seeing here. Look what is going to happen. Even though 90 is inside of this range here, if I type in 90, it is not going to find it. Nothing is going to happen. Even though it's in the range, it will not search for it. It will not find it. It will search for it, but it will not find it. Why? Because it is only looking inside of this first column here. The first column of the range. That's where it's only looking. So you can only type in something that is in that first column. Only then it will find something. Now, once it has found whatever it is looking for in the first column of that range, you simply have to count the column and select which one you want to link. do I want to, I think even if you type in the number 1, it's going to link that first column. So notice it linked biscuit. But that's impractical, right? That's not practical. So we type in 2, we just link the price because the price is the second column. If we type in 3, we get a discount there. So the discount was linked there. So you just have to count the column in that range and it will link that particular column. And the last part is very simple. It's a true or false to indicate whether the table was sorted or not. Even if you don't put it in, it's actually going to still work. Notice here, it's actually not even needed. I leave it out and it's still working. If I change biscuit to cheese stick, it still works. If I change 200 to 400, still works. So it's not necessarily needed, but you still put it in because sometimes it can give you the wrong value. Sometimes. So you ensure you put it in. So yeah, that basically is the VLOOKUP function used to link two cells together. Are you guys clear on that? Anyone with any questions? Any part of it you did not understand? Any part you weren't clear about? This is another one that you have to use in your assignment also. You will have a table in one sheet. You'll have a table in one sheet. So let me show you that example. Let me show you an example of that. So I'm going to highlight this range here. So the range of all the functions. So I'm going to name that functions. So I just highlighted this table here. And I'm going over to sheet 2. So I'm going to type functions and I'm going to type value. So I want to pull over the count A function. So on the value, I'm going to type equal VLOOKUP. What am I looking for? I'm looking for B8. This is what I was telling you guys, that your lookup value, you would create it right next to the VLOOKUP function. You don't go and select the value in that table. You type the actual value that you're looking for in a cell right next to the VLOOKUP. So I'm looking for B8, comma. Now the range, I just created the range as functions, comma. Did I spell that correctly? Let's see. I notice even at the bottom here it's showing up, indicating that the system recognizes it. Good, so let's type in my function there. Now I just need to select the column number. It's just 2 columns there, 1 and 2, so I need to type in 2 and I'm going to type in false. Press enter and notice count A is 2000. So notice I just linked that 2000 over here. So I just linked 2 sheets together. And this is another reason why you would name your range. Because if you did not name your range and you typed in the range A1, comma, colon, whatever the other one was, B, whatever, it's not going to work because it's only looking at what is over here. Now, some persons, and this can actually work also. At this stage here, you could have actually clicked on sheet 1 and go and highlight the range like this here. And if you notice, well, right now, alright, let me highlight something else. I'm going to highlight that. So let me press enter. I notice what happened. This here is a method of creating a range in another sheet. So notice it says sheet 1. So this is giving you the name of the sheet. This exclamation mark is indicating that's the end of that sheet name, and this is the range in that sheet. So this is actually how you can get a range from another sheet. But some persons do this without even knowing what it actually does. They open a function, they open a formula, they click on the sheet name and they go and highlight, and they don't even recognize what they're doing, but it works. So this here can work, nothing's wrong with it. But once again, whenever you are using a range, it's actually much better to name that range, because it helps you to know what data you're basically using. So once again, that's linking this cell here with that one over here. So notice if I change this here to hello, notice I have hello over here. Now what I want to try is to change this false to true. Now notice what happened. I changed that false to true. I notice I got 4. So which one is 4? I got count here. So I got count instead of count A. Now I'm not sure why it would have given me that particular value if it randomly picked it up for some reason. But remember, true is an indication that the table was sorted, but this table here is not sorted. It's kind of a bit I'm thinking, alright, let me not think too much about it, but it's kind of a bit sorted but not exactly sorted. And because we selected true, we're indicating to the system it's sorted when in fact it isn't, and it's giving us the wrong value. So this is what I was telling you guys earlier, that if you do not know if the table is sorted, put false. Unless you know it is sorted, then you put true. Let me try the opposites. I want to sort the table. Sorry, I'm not supposed to highlight. Yeah, sort this table A to Z. So now it's sorted. And now type in true. So notice I now have the correct value of hello. But what if I typed in false when it's now sorted? I still get the correct value. So notice, even if I type in false when it is sorted, I still get the correct value. If I type in if, oh, not if, doesn't have anything. What? Yeah, so notice if brought over that 549 6000, that is there. So it doesn't matter whether if it's sorted or not, you can put in false, but you can only put in true if it is sorted. So that's the last part there. So do you guys think you can create this on your own?
Not really, but
Alright, here's what I want you to do, because I just realized I'm supposed to put you to do it. So create exactly what I have here, practice it. Not this one here, this one that you see in here. So create the 2 tables that you see I have here, and create that VLOOKUP function here. So try that. You can send a picture in the group when you're finished. But other than creating it on your own, do you guys understand how it works? The lookup value, the range, the column number, the true and false. Are you clear on that?
Yeah.
What about the rest of you?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Alright. Try creating that one. Let me turn on. Give me a second. Let me do this. So, if you're finished with the with that one there, you can try creating the one with the other sheet also, sheet 2. Not sheet 2, the other sheet. So I'll put this here in orange. So the one in orange, this is the one link into another sheet, and the one in green and blue are the one working on the same sheet. So you can try all two. And if you notice, it actually looks the same. The only difference is the range. That's the only difference. Because remember, the range is where the data is located. Alright, Nathan got through with his one. Nathan, you can also try the one with a different sheet. Alright. Let's see. Stock 5%. Here's what y'all could do. Nathan and Amisha, since you're already finished, try creating for discount on your own. And send me a picture of that. Try creating for the discount column. So the rest of you, as you're working, you can also add the discount column also. Add in the other information also. Add in biscuits. And create the other one for biscuit also. So add in for biscuits, add in for discount, and add in for the other discount there. Trinity, Oceania, and Africa, you getting through?
Yes, sir.
Alright. Amisha, Nathan, y'all trying the discount?
Yes, sir. Trying it.
Alright.
But like, it's not working out.
I wonder why. Remember, it's simple. The lookup value, you know what you're looking for, is the same range. Remember the column number, you just gotta count your column, and you simply put false. It's simple. Just gotta think of it logically. Okay. Trinity got hers. Trinity, you can also try the discount also. Let me see what you guys get. Nathan, I could give you a hard time. Alright. How are you gonna show them the answer, Nathan? Now, Amisha, I'll copy it.
Sir, but when I click enter, it's not working.
It's not.
No.
Let me see. More than likely, you I already opened the image. Can't see it back. Could be you not. Send it back again.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, Nathan. If you're good with everything there, you can go.
Okay, bye, sir.
Yeah, goodbye. Yeah. Look at your lookup value, Trinity.
This thing ain't working.
Alright. Let me work with Trinity first. Yeah. Yeah, Trinity. You see in lookup value? You have to work with your cells. You didn't type it exactly as mine, so you gotta work with your cells.
Okay, sir.
So look at your lookup value cell. Yeah, Misha, what's happening? I'm assuming if you're not getting it, it could be because you're not working with your cells also. Remember, you gotta look at your cells, what you have, where your lookup value is located. Mine is located in F8. So you have to look for where your lookup value is located. The range is going to remain the same because it doesn't matter where you go, that range was named this here. But your lookup value can change, but the column number will remain the same. So check that. Or send back an image of what you have there. Let me see what's happening. Africa, are you getting through? I see you send up anything up to now. Alright. Great. Seems Oceana got everything. So Oceana, if you're okay with everything, you can go.
Okay, sir. Bye.
Goodbye. Yeah, so Trinity and Amisha, what's happening?
Sir, mine is F8 too.
No, yours is E. That was tell you look at your lookup value. Your lookup value is in column E.
Okay.
No, I don't even think I understand this VLOOKUP thing. This thing is stressing me out. What in Jesus' name?
Equal VLOOKUP. You gotta change your column number. That's your issue. Remember the column number. Look on the screen, Amisha. Look at my screen. You have,
Yeah.
for discount, you have 2 for your column number, right?
Yeah.
Good. So now, remember in your range, you're supposed to count your column number. Remember, item is column 1, price is column 2, discount is column 3. So if you want discount, you have to put 3, not 2. 2 is going to be price.
Yeah, but listen, when I change it to 3, it's not working either.
Alright, change it to 3. Let me see what's happening. Trinity, you change your lookup value.
Yes, sir.
It work now?
No.
Your lookup value, I think your lookup value was E something, E3 or E8. No, if you created like mine, it's supposed to be E8. Cause I think your thing was in E.
Yes, sir. I did that, but it didn't work.
Send it with E8. Let me see what's happening. Send back an image. Alright, so equal VLOOKUP E3 stock tree true, and it's still not working.
Still not working.
Is it because you're in formula view?
Okay, let me see if I change it. Hold on.
Right. If it's
No, when you change it, you get the hashtag n/a thingy.
do you have this complete table
Yeah.
in blue?
Yeah.
Here was send me a picture of everything that you see in here.
Okay, right.
Good. So Trinity. Oh, and it's not working, Trinity.
No, sir.
I'm seeing your issue. Remember I told you guys that when you're creating your range, you're not supposed to select this stock at the top here. You selected the stock at the top here for your range. What you gotta do is go to formulas and go to name manager. Just simply delete it, delete stock, and go and rename it. Rename the range as what you're seeing right now, just the table. Let me see, I can't even check that.
Okay, sir.
Amisha, you can check and see if you have the same issue also, if you name the right range.
Wait, it's fixed. It's fixed.
What was the issue?
The range thingy, the name.
Oh, so you added in stock also.
Yeah.
Yeah, so at least that's a good learning point for you guys, that when you're naming a range, as I said, you're supposed to only name or highlight what you need, and in this case would have been just the table. Alright, so it worked for discount for you, Amisha?
Yep.
Alright, good. So you're good there. So you're clear on both of them.
Yeah.
Alright, good. Trinity, it worked for you?
No, sir. It didn't work.
So, did you rename your range?
Just highlight the stock to discount and then limit stock.
No. From item. What you seeing in red right now?
No, oh,
Not stock. Don't highlight stock. Amish, you can go if you want. If you're clearing everything.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah, Trinity. You just need to highlight this range that you're seeing right now, what we're seeing in red, and name that.
okay, sir. Sir, when I click the red and then I press enter, it's highlighting the whole thing.
Alright, possibility, you want screen share?
Yeah, sure.
Alright, screen share.
Sir, it was easier to use in my old Excel thing, but Microsoft was expired and I renewed it, and this is the 2013 one. It's just like,
Alright, share screen, let me see what's happening. Alright, here's what to do first. Click on name manager. Okay, so delete stock. Press delete. Let's start over. Close. So that's highlight the table from item to the last value. Good. And now name your range stock. Let's go to the name box and type in stock. Good. So that's it there. So now that's actually supposed to work here now. So just open the function and press enter. Double click on it, or I think you're in formula view, so you gotta turn off formula view. And in. See if you spell cheese stick correctly. No, don't undo, because you might undo the name range also. You see what happened? You undo the name range also. Every time you do that, every time you undo, you're undoing your name range. Alright, here's what to do. Turn off formula view.
sir, how do you do that?
Control and the key above tab. Good. Select the cell that you were typing in VLOOKUP.
That was
Delete, press the delete key. Good. Start typing again. Equal VLOOKUP. Good. Good. Select your lookup value. Be sure that's your right lookup value. Good. That's your lookup value. Looking for cheese stick, right? The cell of cheese stick. Good. Comma. Now type in the name of your range. Good. Comma. And now which column you want to bring over? No, you gotta put in a number.
also 20? Oh no, 2.
Right. Good. Comma. And then false. Enter. Still not working. The only possibility is that cheese stick is spelled incorrect. For some reason. Or no. Delete cheese stick and type in biscuit and see what happens.
Here?
Yeah. Open that in VLOOKUP. So E8, that's correct. Looking inside of stock for the second column and that. So what is wrong? What is wrong? I am not seeing anything wrong. Here's what to do. Go to another sheet and just type back the same information. Just type item and price and just type in don't type in the discount. Just type in biscuit $20. Good. And name that something. Highlight the range. No, you gotta highlight from item. Yeah. And name it test. Good. Go somewhere else. And yeah, just put in the word biscuit. Go over to the next cell. Good. And start typing there now.
Wait, the sheet?
You can leave it like that. Now we're just testing it for now. Type in the name of the range. Good. Column. Comma. False. Great.
Oh, it works.
Yeah. So it could be something corrupted in data or some formatting going wrong with that table. So you can try with the same table you have there. Go back to sheet 1. Yeah, just the same table. Just type it back in another sheet when you later on and see if it's gonna work. Try and also try for discount.
Okay.
Alright.
Like now?
No, you can do it later on whenever you have time.
Okay. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Bye.
Yeah, goodbye.